Hey guys. So a couple hours ago I saw the movie Independence Day Resurgence and thought I'd talk about it along with the prequel to it briefly. So the first Independence Day. Well, what can I say about this movie that hasn't been said already, you know? It's a nice movie. Roland Emmerich's biggest hit was the second highest grossing movie at one point behind Jurassic Park, and it's like a perfect blend of dramatic, humorous moments, and then has great action sequences and very good chemistry between the lead actors, and just ultimately a very good movie and one of the best disaster films ever made, you know? Yeah, and this Blu-ray, let me tell you, they released this around the same time that the Resurgence was coming out, and this Blu-ray is just amazing, alright? Just this movie looks great in high definition, and then the extended cut, it's a pretty nice amount of stuff that they added, because it gives a little more background to Russell Crowe's kids, and then a little bit more into David, and I like that stuff. Because before I saw that Blu-ray, I had actually only ever seen this movie on VHS that my dad taped way back in the day, so just, yeah, I got me a pleasant treat with that Blu-ray. I'm real glad that I bought it, and probably one reason we should be glad that the sequel came out, because now we have a definitive edition of the movie to own, because it's been released so many times, yeah. Alright, now jumping into Resurgence. Now, before I saw it, I was sure, even from the trailers, which I reasonably liked, that it was going to get bad reviews, so when it came in that most people were like, yeah, not a good movie, or that, like, it's a crappy movie, it honestly didn't surprise me, because I knew that what they did in the original, they weren't going to be able to duplicate here, no matter how many times they tried, even if Will Smith had been in here, so yeah, that didn't really surprise me. But the thing was, I've seen so many of Roland Emmerich's movies, original Stargate, 10,000 BC, Godzilla, the first Independence Day movie, Day After Tomorrow, 2012, and White House Down. I knew I was going to see this movie, so I went in with not too much expectations, and I felt like I got my time's worth out of it. I do have things that I liked about it and stuff that I disliked. Let's do the like stuff first, because that's a little quick. I do like the fact that they brought back a fair number of people from the first movie. They did pretty well on reprising their roles, although I was totally surprised that they brought back David's father. Just, really? Because, like, he seemed pretty old enough in the first film, and now you're bringing him here? Yeah, that was a real surprise, and they didn't really need him in this movie, let's be honest. I do like the bits that they tried to do with updating the younger people that they brought back from the first movie, but it didn't really amount to that much, to be honest. And, like, they didn't even mention Russell's kids, which depressed me just a tad bit, because they could have easily had what's-his-face, you know, Charlie be one of Russell's kids, although McGill, he would have been pretty old, and then the kid that was sick, I'm pretty sure he had asthma, so yeah, that actually does eliminate two of them, so maybe it's not as big of a deal as what I'm going at, yeah. And then I did like little bits of the mythology that they added and various twists that they did. And the new guys, I didn't mind them too much, although they did act a little bit robust and not exactly, shall we say, characters that we're interested in seeing. But I begin to think this more and more lately as films become more modernized. This is actually a betrayal of where we're at, just because with social media, we can see so many different kinds of personalities that we might not otherwise be subject to, that it's just closer to how the world is. Not exactly a pleasant prospect, but it's closer to how it is, so I'm someone who says accept reality, even if it's not that great of a reality, yeah. Right. So I think that adds up that. Now let's jump into some of the issues that I had with Resurgence here. Well, the main issue was that it did feel like they had jumped ahead big time in the story, and I found myself thinking multiple times, wouldn't this actually make for like a better book version of that kind of thing, even though that would make the action sequences a little less tough to follow, but they were already a little hard to follow as it was, given how similar the aircraft look, and also the action scenes, minus the bits at the end, weren't really that dramatic. You just got the idea that something was up, to be honest, and there wasn't really any thrill with them. But here's the thing, after I finished watching the movie, I did a little bit of poking around, and I realized that there actually is a book that's based off this movie, but there's actually more than just one, because there's actually a novelization of the first movie, two more novels that describe the backgrounds to supporting characters in the first movie, then there's a book called Independence Day Crucible, which bridges the movies, and then there's the novelization for this movie. And it doesn't seem like they're like just like cheap novels either. It seems to be full length. It describes a lot of details, such as why David's wife isn't in this movie. I'll let you guys figure out why she's not in here, but it's really simple. Alright. So that's one issue I had. And then this time, I'm not too happy with the solution that they came up with. Now, to be fair, okay, because now that Roland Emmerich and producers try to craft this movie so that they can make a sequel to it, it does make sense that the strategy that they come up with in this movie isn't actually that creative if you're going to make another movie, which most likely will have a much more creative strategy. But like, it just seemed to be too simple, you know? And like, what they did in the first movie was that humanity, well, David basically took a tiny step back in technology and then just simply cracked the alien technology just simply by uploading the crazy computer virus. But here, they're not even really... I get they're trying to shift it to our technology ended up finding a loophole in the alien system to what's kind of used the alien technology against them, but they're not. They're using someone else's technology to show up here, and yeah, I mean, like, I know that I did just state that it's to kind of be expected if they're going to have another movie that the solution wouldn't be that creative, but it just didn't feel right, to be honest, especially since, as I stated, most of the action sequences, minus when the Queen, you know, disentangled herself from the ship, didn't really carry that much weight to it, you know? And then, the chemistry between the actors in here, there really wasn't that much of it, you know, because, like, sure, there's, a little bit of a bond between, what's his face, Liam Hemsworth's character and, Charlie. I hope I'm remembering his name correctly, but there isn't that much there. There's no, real bonding between Whitmore's daughter Patricia and Liam Hemsworth's character, because they're barely on screen together throughout the entire movie, you know. And then like the plot between Charlie and Ray, the Chinese chick, really? Just that has even less bits. Just what? Really? And like, also, not enough people died in this movie. I know what you're thinking. Not too many meaningful people died in the first movie, or they didn't really spend that much time with them. True, because Harry Connick Jr. in the original, though his death occurs very quickly, although it's to be expected. And then we've got the tender moment with Whitmore's wife dying, and then you've got Russell at the end of the movie. But here, you do have the heroic sacrifice of President Whitmore, okay? And then you do have the doctor's friend die, but that's it. Just like, huh? You couldn't have, you know, killed one of the 4 pilots? Like, seriously. Oh yeah, then there was also, Will Smith's girlfriend dying. Okay, yeah. So you do have 3 people die here that do get screened. Yeah, but you could have had more people die. You really could have. Alright? And also, I'm not really a huge fan of, them, like, changing the military person now that they have it here. Because, like, there's a couple of prominent military people that were in the first movie. There's, that general guy who's always with the president. And then there's, that guy who shows up at Area 51, who the general guy, you know, asks, is that glass bulletproof? And he's like, nope. But, like, one would assume that, the guy who creates Jeff Goldblum's character when he shows up is that same guy, but it's not. I checked. It's actually the guy who plays Colonel Sharp in Armageddon. If you don't know who I'm talking about, well, sorry, but that's how I remember the character, because I knew that guy looked familiar. But, like, it's a character who isn't in the first movie showing up here. Now, he might have been in Crucible, okay? But, like, I don't know, just like how hard would it have been to do the same character, even if they had changed actors, because that guy who was in the first movie, you can easily replicate his look and then just age it. Because, like, seriously, if I cut the side of my hair much shorter than it is now and just ditch the glasses, I'm telling you, I would look like that guy, I'm telling you. So, yeah, it's not that they did that, although I will admit, Sharp actually did a decent job in this movie, I'll admit. Because you got the idea that he at least knew what he was doing, but just hasn't been in a real armed conflict, but keeps a level head. Like, yeah. Although it was odd that he, was, like, designated survivor. Just really? Yeah. And then, bringing back the doctor guy from the first movie. Really? He was dead, okay? And, like, seriously, would it have been that hard, you know, to have, David be the one trying to crack open, you know, the thing that had the cube, and then just have, Whitmore be the one relaying the information about the hive mind, because he was part of the hive mind too? Huh? This would have made a lot more sense if you ask me. And then, like, the kids that they've got in here, really they're there just because I bet they just didn't want to kill David's father off. When it kind of would have made a little bit more sense, you know, because that would have added a little bit more of a bleak feel to the movie. Because, like, here, his father doesn't do anything other than help the kids out. Literally, that's all he does. And then provide David a little bit of an escape, which could have easily been worked around in the script. Whereas in the first movie, he was the mediator between the ordinary guys, you know, helping out the White House personnel, and then he gives David the idea of using the computer virus. So the title of his book, even though it is kind of far-fetched, actually does hold up. But, like, yeah. Yeah, so I've spent, like, the past, I don't know, 8 minutes or so just raging about little fine prints like this about the movie, but just, you know, I just wanted to, really vent this out. Yeah. Now, you gotta remember, okay, I wasn't really expecting, that much from this movie, alright? But I did get my, time's worth out of it. It was a decent enough action movie, and, I do think that there is a little bit of potential to, build this onward, but I really hope that the third movie is the last, because that's the thing about this. You can only stretch the concept too far, I think, and the thing is, when it comes to trilogies, frequently what happens is that you've got the first movie, which, even though you can have like a dingling plot thread, usually you can actually stop right there, like with Star Wars A New Hope. Then you've got this movie where it does set up the sequel, but there is a little bit of potential for you to just leave it off right there. And then you've got one more movie that definitively wraps everything up. So basically you've got the Loner movie, and then you've got the 2-parters as 2 and 3. Which I bet is what they're going to go for here, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah. And arguably the original Star Wars trilogy, okay. So I gotta wrap this up real quick, because this is a crazy video to be 15 minutes long. Rating for this first movie, I'm gonna give it a perfect 5 out of 5. First movie, I think, on this channel that I've done that too. And then this movie, personally, not gonna give it a rating. Critique-wise, I'm probably gonna go 2 out of 5 because I just don't feel right giving it 3. Later.